Greetings and God bless. So it's the day after the big, you know, thing that happened that everybody's talking about, with the pew pew and the orange man. Now, personally, as a person, as a character, as an actor, I like the guy. Um, but I also realize that all the world's a stage and those we see are merely players. I have doubts about what we see in the news and even in the alternative media. So I was looking at a website, a electronic bulletin board, and Rumor Mill News had this very rude title saying that it was a message to the stupid people who think it's a false flag. Now, there are one after the other thing that appears to be this fake staged event that is going to get sympathy or going to get like the left excited. And, uh, if you look at any huge traumatic event, it's this trauma hypnosis method. And I don't want to say anybody's mean or bad or trying to traumatize us, but we do have to pay attention to the facts. We have to pay attention to what we see with our eyes, and we have to be logical. And people are pointing out all like hundreds, if not thousands, of things that is very odd about the event. And who is it that shuts us down? Who is it that attacks us personally, not the information? They just attack us personally. It's a narcissist. It's a toxic person. It's a communist. It's a fascist. And that's who American media, American intelligence media, haha, so hilarious. They're not American, these are traitors. Because you know what's American is freedom of speech, freedom of thought. That's what makes American great. And then you have the nerve to call yourself intelligent. How can you be intelligent if you have to force the narrative how you want it to be? And you imply you're Christians. You are not Christians because you do not call people who are seeking the truth, you do not call them stupid people you don't know. You don't make some public sign on the internet calling those of us who are concerned about the corruption, the verifiable, the acknowledged corruption that exists everywhere on both sides. And you're calling us stupid for noticing what we see. Like, shame on you. You do not deserve the word American for you to use for yourself. You do not deserve the word Christian because you are a bad example of a Christian. You are repelling anybody from pursuing a relationship with Jesus because you are liars, you are abusers. And shame on you, because if you just have two brain cells to rub together, you could see that there's something very sketchy about the situation. I have nothing against the orange man. I just think that it is our job. It's our job to vet everything, everybody. We can't just be like, oh, I like him because he's funny and so he can run the government, or I'm going to trust him with my children and getting the injection that he touted that he got done and that everybody should be taking. Okay. Like, the things just do not make sense. And God is not a God of confusion. God is about logic. And so if somebody is not making sense, or even is like somewhat not making sense, like, but there's somebody worse than them, like, I'm not going to choose the less nonsensical person. Like, it is illogical that he pushed the injections and that he still pushes the injections. He's very proud of the injections. He crows about it. He got $1 million. And people make excuses that this is politics, la la la. Okay, but these are facts. These are things to weigh as the handful of human beings that exist, because it is apparent to me people like lemmings are willing. They have no sense of self-preservation. They have no sense of taking care of their children. They're not taking care of their adult families. They're like, oh yeah, just go and be tortured to death, dehydrated, left abandoned in the hospital, and doped up with remdesivir and put on ventilation so the alveoli of your lungs gets sheared off, and the hospitals take out life insurance policies on you. And then when you're unalived, because you've been abandoned in the CV room where people were abandoned, and the hospital could make up to $500 million. $500,000 for each person. A hospital with a person with a CV demise on their certificate, and that was forced. Everybody had to have that. Like, there was no option for another way to pass away. It's all automated, so CV was the only option. Okay, so like there's just all these shenanigans that we've been exposed to, and we can't just trust the white coat. We can't just trust the name. We can't just trust the media. We need to be able to ask questions, do our diligence, and take care of our loved ones, take care of ourselves, take care of our community, rather than just being like a lemming. And like, if you die, well, okay. Like, the way people are going, it's not a good way to go. And but hopefully you get what I'm saying. And yeah, so shame on American intelligence media. Shame on how insulting. Like, God is going to punish you, because God says, do not call your brother a fool. And that's what you did. I'm a believer. I'm a Bible believer. I'm a 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4, Romans 3:25 believer. And you have insulted me by saying, using my God-given intelligence, using my God-given eyes and ears, and seeing how many sketchy, weird, Freemasonic evidences. Because that's what the Satanists do. The Satanists tell you what they're doing. It's called revelation of the method. They believe that when they tell you that they're messing around, when they've done something, and when you choose to ignore the evidence of your eyes, ears, heart, then you deserve what you get. And so, AIM, like, such a hypocritical name, because you're a sinner. You guys are sinners. You are missing the mark. And, shame on you. And you should revise that title. You could say, hey, we think it's one way. We want to say it's the only way, but you don't call other people names and post it on one of the main electronic bulletin boards when a president's been assaulted with a gun. Like, you don't do that kind of crap. So I almost don't want to look at rumor mill news anymore if that's what they're going to post on there. Just because it's already hard enough. It's already hard enough when conservatives want to be blind to what's going on. Conservatives want to be blind about Satanism and Freemasons and false flags and stuff like that, as well as all the progressives. So that's 80-90% of people don't want to know. And then when an alternative, one of the few kind of alternative websites that will post anything about the news, alternative perspectives, when they're calling you dumb for noticing facts, noticing that Freemasonic symbols are here, there, and everywhere, and that the Illuminati family stuff is there, and then calling you stupid. That's not what God tells us. God tells us to be a light in the salt of the earth. God tells us to be wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove. God tells us not to be ignorant of Satan's wiles. And I think AIM is actually satanic. That is what evil Christians are. They're satanic. Because when you're a non-believer and you abuse the name, you desecrate the name of Christianity, and you desecrate Jesus by your bad behavior, by your willful ignorance of Christianity, of God, of Jesus. you make Christians, true Christians, seem bad. It is better that all of you lukewarm Christians, you stop it. Stop using the name Christian. Call your church a temple. Call your church something else. But don't use the word Christian, because you're not being a Christian when you're not being a Christian. You're not being a Christian when you're insulting other Christians. You're not being a Christian when you're insulting non-believers either. We're supposed to be ambassadors for the Lord. Does the French ambassador or the Iranian ambassador or the Peruvian ambassador insult us when they come here? No, they have very good manners. But Christians don't have good manners. What Christians do is they go to a street corner or onto a train and start insulting people, telling them they're a sinner. So when somebody comes from Peru or from Africa or from Russia, do they come up to our faces and tell us we're a sinner? No, they don't. They introduce themselves. They ask how you're doing. They develop a rapport. But these fake Christians or misguided Christians think that they can just kick somebody in the teeth and that person's going to be interested in the message. And I don't know why that is, but nothing in the Bible says go kick a stranger in the teeth and share the gospel with them. So I think AIM must be like some sort of satanic CIA deep state stuff, desecrating the name of Jesus, desecrating the work of Christianity, just by how obnoxious their title is about such a topic. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people just don't want anybody to look into anything. I think a lot of people are just like, I just want to be in my kindergarten worldview. And if I just stay in my kindergarten worldview, it's going to be fine. They'll take care of me. No, you're going to end up dead. Just like in a hospital, abandoned, not given food, not given water, put on a ventilator, put on remdesivir until you starve to death, if you're that lucky. And then or do they harvest your organs while you're still alive without anesthesia? Understand, when you are getting your organs harvested, you don't get anesthesia because it's hard on the organs, and the organs are the most important thing, because you're just cattle to the hospital. You're just money. So your spouse gets that $500 life insurance policy. The hospital gets $500,000 for your diagnosis. And then for every little thing that they get to harvest out of your body, your lungs, your heart, your eyes, all that stuff. So they get the hospital gets what? Another $1 million, right? From harvesting you while you're still alive without anesthetic. Okay. So when you have your kindergarten level worldview and you end up harvested, whether you're a little kid, whether you're just an adult or an elderly person, is that really okay? Does your kindergarten worldview work for you then? So wake up, folks, grow up. And don't insult people's character when you cannot make a solid argument about what they're saying, because that's what AIM does. AIM doesn't say, oh, well, this factor is wrong because of this. No. They just want to insult the people. So it's unchristian to insult the brethren, and God has your number. Thanks for watching.